History remembers kings as warriors, rulers, and visionaries. But behind the golden crowns and mighty empires lie shocking, forbidden truths. Hidden chambers, lust-driven alliances, and dark sexual secrets that shaped entire kingdoms. From the scandalous affairs of pharaohs to the shocking obsessions of Roman emperors, today we reveal the dark sexual secrets of ancient kings. Secrets so disturbing, history tried to erase them. Our journey into the shadows of history begins in ancient Egypt, a civilization of breathtaking monuments and divine rulers. Here, along the Nile, pharaohs were not merely kings, they were living gods, walking incarnations of Horus on earth. This divine status placed them on a pedestal far above mortal laws and morality. Behind the golden masks and towering temple walls, they lived by a different set of rules, indulging in desires that would be unthinkable for their subjects. Their palaces, shimmering with gold, were not just homes, but theaters of power, where every whisper and every touch held political weight. To preserve this sacred bloodline, a practice we find abhorrent was mandated: royal incest. Pharaohs frequently married their own sisters, sometimes even their daughters. This wasn't a transgression, but a divine emulation of the gods, like the mythical union of Osiris and his sister wife Isis. It was a chilling political strategy, ensuring power and divinity remained tightly coiled within the family. But this pursuit of purity came at a terrible price. The famous boy king, Tutankhamun, was a product of such a union. Modern analysis of his mummy reveals the tragic consequences: a clubfoot, a cleft palate, and a host of genetic ailments that plagued his short life. The gods may have demanded purity, but nature exacted a brutal revenge. But the secrets of the pharaohs extend beyond the marriage bed. Consider Ramses the Great. While his monuments dominate the Egyptian landscape, his private life was just as monumental. Hidden records reveal a staggering appetite. Ramses II maintained a harem of over 200 wives and concubines, an institution that was the epicenter of his political power. Each woman was a strategic asset. Daughters of nobles and foreign princesses were brought into his fold, their bodies serving as treaties, their children as living seals of alliance. Sex was a tool, wielded to forge loyalty, neutralize threats, and sire over 100 children to secure his dynasty. It was a complex web of desire, diplomacy, and domination. And no ruler understood weaponizing desire better than Egypt's final pharaoh, Cleopatra. Facing the unstoppable might of Rome, she knew military force was futile. Her weapons were her intellect, charisma, and irresistible allure. She strategically entangled the world's most powerful men in her kingdom's fate. She famously had herself smuggled to Julius Caesar wrapped in a carpet, a dramatic entrance that began a legendary affair. After his death, she forged an even more passionate and politically charged alliance with Mark Antony. For Cleopatra, love and lust were instruments of statecraft, her bedchamber a battlefield where the future of Egypt was won and lost. In these royal palaces, passion was politics, and absolutely nothing was forbidden. In Mesopotamia, kings claimed divine rights over women. Some rulers practiced sacred marriages with temple priestesses, blending religion with lust. These rituals weren't private, they were public displays of royal dominance. Imagine a king proving his power through acts of intimacy, watched and celebrated by his subjects. Sex wasn't hidden. It was a spectacle, a ritual, and a symbol of control. In the shadow of the Colosseum and the Senate, where law and order were forged in stone, Rome gave us emperors who rewrote the very rules of desire. For these men, who held the known world in their grasp, absolute power didn't just corrupt their politics. It twisted their most intimate impulses into instruments of terror and control. The imperial palace became a stage for a different kind of conquest. One fought not on the battlefield but in the emperor's bedchamber, where the lines between pleasure, cruelty, and power blurred into nothing. Consider Caligula, an emperor whose name became synonymous with madness. His reign began with promise but quickly descended into a fever dream of paranoia and sadism. The historian Suetonius tells us Caligula turned his own palace into a state-run brothel. But this was no simple act of lust. He allegedly forced the wives and daughters of the highest-ranking senators to work within its walls, setting the prices for their services himself. It was a calculated act of ultimate humiliation, a way to prove that everything and everyone, including the honor of Rome's most powerful families, belonged to him. He even committed incest with his sisters, most notoriously with his favorite Drusilla, whom he later deified as a goddess after her death, a public declaration of a love that defied all mortal law. Then there was Nero, the artist emperor, whose cruelty was matched only by his love for spectacle. After his beloved wife, Poppaea Sabina, died, some say from a kick he delivered in a fit of rage, Nero was consumed by a twisted grief. He found a young boy, a freedman named Sporus, who bore an uncanny resemblance to the dead empress. In a shocking public display, Nero had Sporus castrated, dressed him in Poppaea's finest clothes, and married him in a formal ceremony, complete with a dowry and bridal veil. He called Sporus his Sabina, and paraded him through the streets as his wife. This wasn't just a private eccentricity. It was a grotesque performance meant to show Rome that Nero's will could literally reshape reality, even bending gender and identity to his whim. For these emperors, sex was the ultimate expression of tyranny. It was power, spectacle, and profound cruelty, used to dominate their rivals and shatter the sacred traditions of their people. These stories, passed down through the centuries, are more than just lurid gossip. They are chilling warnings, revealing how unchecked power at the very top of society doesn't just lead to bad governance, but to a deep personal depravity that can rot an empire from the inside out. Their reigns almost always ended in blood, a violent backlash to their excesses, proving that not even an emperor could defy the soul of Rome forever. Across the world in India and China, kings built entire palaces dedicated to pleasure. The Kama Sutra wasn't just poetry, it was a manual for royal indulgence. Indian emperors kept harems of hundreds, guarded by eunuchs, where forbidden encounters shaped dynasties. In China, emperors were believed to gain longevity by sleeping with multiple concubines, sometimes dozens in a single night. Sexual obsession became ritual, and ritual became politics. Europe's kings were no different. Henry VIII's lust reshaped the church itself, divorcing and executing wives in search of passion and heirs. French kings like Louis XV filled Versailles with mistresses, while medieval rulers secretly indulged in same-sex affairs despite the church's strict teachings. Royal scandals weren't only private sins, they sparked wars, shifted alliances, and changed the course of nations. We've journeyed through the shadowed corridors of history, peering into the private chambers of the world's most powerful rulers. These dark sexual secrets of ancient kings remind us of one profound, unsettling truth. Behind every gilded crown, beneath every layer of ermine and silk, was a human being. A person consumed by the very same primal forces of desire, weakness, and lust. They were seen as gods by their subjects, their decrees shaping the fate of millions. But in the quiet of the night, they were merely men and women, wrestling with the same loneliness and temptations that define the human experience. The throne was not a seat of comfort, but a gilded cage, isolating them from the world and often from their own humanity. The history books glorify their victories and strategic alliances, telling a story of statecraft and battles won on open fields. But this is only half the story. Hidden in the shadows of those official accounts are the forbidden passions that truly shaped empires. An illicit affair didn't just break a heart, it could shatter a dynasty, sparking a succession crisis that plunged a nation into civil war. A king's infatuation with a courtier could elevate a family from obscurity to unimaginable power, rewriting the political landscape overnight. A queen's secret lover could be a foreign spy, their trysts a vector for espionage that brought an entire kingdom to its knees. These were not mere footnotes to history, they were its secret engine, the invisible currents of desire that steered the ship of state. What do these scandals teach us? They reveal that power and desire are not separate forces, but two sides of the same tarnished coin, forever intertwined. For a monarch, absolute power provided the ultimate freedom to pursue any desire, no matter how taboo or destructive. But desire, in turn, became a tool of power. Marriages were not unions of love, but cold, calculated treaties. Affairs were not simple indiscretions, but declarations of favor or defiance. The royal bedchamber was a second throne room, a battlefield where alliances were forged and the future of the realm was decided. Think of the countless lives altered by these whims, the illegitimate children who lived in the shadows, their royal blood a dangerous secret. The queens cast aside for a new favorite, their humiliation a public spectacle. The loyal advisors executed for knowing too much. These are the forgotten casualties in the eternal war between the crown and the heart. It proves that the most consequential decisions in history weren't made in a war council, but in a whispered conversation after midnight. The secrets behind the throne changed the world far more profoundly than the battles fought on any field. The stories we've uncovered are a testament to the messy, complicated, and deeply human reality behind the myths of monarchy. Now we turn the question to you. Which of these royal scandals do you find the most revealing about the nature of power? Is there a hidden history, a forgotten monarch secret, that you believe deserves to be brought into the light? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to build a community of historical detectives. If you hunger for more forbidden history, for the hidden truths and the mysteries they never dared teach you in school, then make sure to subscribe and ring the bell. Our journey into the shadows is far from over.